And I know you talk a lot about the brain science, and that is what mindfulness really is anchored in. The brain science of thoughts, the brain science of how the brain works, the brain science of emotions, and how those thoughts, emotions, feelings shape our behavior, shape our relationships with ourselves and our relationships with other people. So we talk a lot in our conversations with our clients and in our workshops, the ability that mindfulness gives you to separate yourself from the busyness, to really create a moment of stop and just a moment to really realize what, or have an awareness of what's going on, the presence, right? To be able to better manage those thoughts so that you can better manage your feelings, manage your emotions, and do it in a way that encourages greater well-being amidst the chaos, amidst the aversion. We have success. Finally. Oh, that was interesting. And I have a moment of celebration, right? So I have my wine, right? Some vino. I wore a dress celebrating you today with my pocket. Hi. That we were able to get on. I see my friends. Hey, Nadia. Awesome. And Angela. How are you doing, Stacy?
Boy, let me tell you. Can I just tell you? It's like I literally felt like I was hugging you just now. Because
and I received that. I felt it as well. It's such a pleasure to be here. I really feel like I'm in celebration mode with you. So thank you again for having me. This is a wonderful space. And now that I'm seeing all my girls logging in, I feel even warmer inside. Hey, Shari. Okay.
Yes.
Nice to be with you.
So I'm just okay, so somebody just said they can't see you well. Can you shift over a little bit so that we can have you more to the to this side and come
that's better?
Yes, that's a little better. Okay, all right, guys.
I'm in my makeshift home office, which we've had to create since Corona. So this is my new favorite little nook. So I'm happy to be in my space. I have my cocktail. I'm here with you and your tribe of amazing women. Some new, right? Some who have joined today, but others who love you and admire you. So it's a blessing to be here. Thanks again for having me.
Yes, and okay, so I'm still getting requests. Maybe close the blinds behind you because of the lighting. Oh, I actually
the blinds. That's better. Okay, the blinds are closed, but if this is better, someone said move closer to the flowers, right?
Yes.
Okay. All
right, guys, so we're gonna get the conversation going. I'm hearing it is definitely lighting. So Rain, I'm gonna send you some stuff because I think we're gonna be doing more of these lives. So I'm gonna send you some tools I needed to order from Amazon straight away.
Yes,
so that we can up your live game, like turn it up 10x. Okay.
Because right now I have maybe 4 lights in here, so I will take your counsel and take your guidance. No problem.
Okay, and we can hear you very clearly. So we really want this to be about the storytelling and to really use this as an opportunity to share in this space. So thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate you coming on with us. And before you joined, I was actually kind of prepping persons about our relationship and just talking about the way that it started online, you know, and that just the conversation around this fight, this cancer survival, not just being for the persons who are actually ill with the disease, but it being for persons that are at the ripple effect of what the experience is. And I got really excited about you accepting to join because once I made up my mind to do this, like you immediately came to mind as somebody that I wanted to have on to talk today. And guys, Rain has created an amazing company that she's going to be sharing something, her gift for us, which we'll talk about towards
the end. I'm excited for all the parents in the house. This is going to be extremely helpful was for you in particular. So I'm excited to talk about that a little bit more.
Yes. So I would love for you, Rain, to just kind of share your story of when you talk about being a woman of courage, which is the book that Rain is a part of. She's an author in a book.
And I have it right here. I'm so proud. I'm in such good company with you, my fellow author, Stacey. Congrats again of birthing your book. Yes. This book has come at such an amazing time and even more impactful because my sister and my mom have also published chapters in this book. So what an amazing blessing. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the book later because we might have a giveaway of that as well. Okay. So one of the things I shared in my book, really, when I was thinking about what I wanted to share in our time today, is just some introspection, and some of you guys touched on some things that were true for me as well. And you know, these women are so phenomenal that while our experiences are very different and individual and unique to us, there's a commonality between all of our lives and our experiences, right? So there's always going to be overlap. But one of the first things I wrote in my book is that life is beautiful. It's amazing. And isn't it, Stacey, you're celebrating your 10-year anniversary of being free of cancer. You have kicked its butt. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. But life is also hard. And it's also heartbreaking. And, you know, that has been, for me, one of the most insightful sort of takeaways, that life is not good all the time. And that, you know, some amount of pain and sadness and struggle and challenge is a part of the human experience. That was a really big moment of clarity for me. And, you know, there are three real sort of life-defining moments for me. One is when I was in a relationship for 6 years with the father of my daughter, subsequently ended that relationship. That was one of those, you know, big life moments for me. A few years later, my dad, who was in optimal health, he ran a successful health and wellness business in Jamaica. We spoke on a Monday night, my sister, he and I, and by Tuesday morning, he was dead, right? So that was huge. And, you know, life goes on. You have to continue to maneuver through. You know, I have a daughter to live for. I was lecturing still at the time. I'm a social and behavioral sciences professor here in South Florida. But I had to realize that, you know, there is a choice in how you experience the experience. And what I'm finding is that in these last 3 years, all those things I mentioned happened in a 3-year period, right? After my dad passed away, 6 months later, we took my mom to the ER, my daughter and I, my 6-year-old and I, to be told that she was diagnosed with cancer of the brain, the lung, and the adrenal gland. This is 6 years after losing my dad. Wow. And, you know, that was a year ago. And I say that not to get pity or for people to feel bad for me, but I'm sharing that and I'm being vulnerable to show the extent of the pain and the suffering and the hard times. And what started to happen was, you know, people started to come to my sister and I with a true inquiry and caring and wanting to know, how are you guys managing? How are you coping? And not only coping, but you seem to be thriving, like business is taking off and, you know, you're doing so well with your community leadership work. And how is that really working? And what we found in those moments of true introspection, Crystal talked about that. And I think you said before, Lysandra, I was taking notes, by the way, when the other ladies were talking, that you have those moments of crisis, right? That become these life-defining moments for you when you really have to question and ask some really hard questions. And one of those includes, how am I going to experience this experience? A big part of mindfulness has really been a way or a vehicle for my sister and I, my family, my 6-year-old, my mom, to cultivate resilience, right? And
that's so good. That's so good.
It's a vehicle for resilience. And, you know, when I think about it, we had a really good childhood. We were raised by a single mom, a dad who was out touring and living a rock star life. She worked very hard to give us a good life and all that we needed. So my resilience came later in life. You know, you tend to think that there are some people, boy, they're just cut out for it. Like, you just make for this hard life business,
Yes.
right? And that I not make for it, cut out for them thing there. And I tend to think I was one of those people that I had to learn and figure out how to be able to bend and not break under the pressure, right? Because the waves will come, right?
Yeah.
The waves will come for sure. There is a certainty that life will be messy and that life will be hard and that life will be painful, right? Some people are dealt with some really shitty hands, but even when your hand up and you have full house or flush, I don't play poker, so I don't know, you're still going to have challenging moments, right? Those are inevitable. So what is your surfboard, as my sister starts to say? And for us, mindfulness has been that surfboard. It's really been what makes the difference. I even make observations between my sister and I, who completely transformed our lives to be able to care for our mom and support her. My sister gave up her apartment in DC. I gave up my apartment here in South Florida, and we all came together and moved in one home so that we could take care of my mom and support her. And my sister has really been that mindfulness practitioner and leader and spiritual guide for me, because I noticed that even though the experiences are the same in terms of caring for our mom, that she seems to have an ability to navigate it with more of a balanced mind. We call it equanimity, right? To go through those hardships and those challenges with more compassion and more peace and more calm. And so that drew me to really want to know more about what is she doing that I'm not doing, because the both of us in this boat together, but she mindfulness and resilience don't make you immune to hardships, but I just noticed a difference in how she was experiencing the experience. So that has been a tremendous life raft for us. And she did an amazing session on the mindfulness of thoughts on Sunday. She has her session every Sunday at 11. I invited you to, and that was amazing. Some of you guys talked about, thoughts and how important they are. Thoughts become feelings, feelings become behaviors, and shape the way we interact with each other, right? So mindfulness really helps us in the busyness of our lives. We're busier than ever before, even before Corona. We get more done than we've ever in a 24-hour period, right? And if you're a parent, you add another layer of stress to that, right? And I know you talk a lot about the brain science, and that is what mindfulness really is anchored in. The brain science of thoughts, the brain science of how the brain works, the brain science of emotions, and how those thoughts, emotions, feelings shape our behavior, shape our relationships with ourselves and our relationships with other people. So we talk a lot in our conversations with our clients and in our workshops, the ability that mindfulness gives you to separate yourself from the busyness, to really create a moment of stop and just a moment to really realize what, or have an awareness of what's going on, the presence, right? To be able to better manage those thoughts so that you can better manage your feelings, manage your emotions, and do it in a way that encourages greater well-being amidst the chaos, amidst the adversity, amidst the turmoil. That's not stopping, right? I don't want to tell you the type of week we've had, the type of month we've had, the type of year, the type of 3 years.
The type of thing. For some people, I mean, and even showing up for this, right? When you look at all the different things that happen during the course of any particular day, and let's say you have something that you're doing that's really meaningful to you, and then they talk about Murphy's law and how Murphy shows up, and that's just life showing up. And the way that what I have trained my mind to think now, because it's really about training your mind to think of how it shows up, right, is if something is showing up that is not what you desire, that is actually making things feel hard or difficult, or those words, right, all it's doing is giving you additional muscle for what is on the other side. Because if you can rise to the occasion of whatever Murphy is bringing, then what is on the other side of that is another level of greatness. And then once you go up to that level, then life is going to introduce something else that's going to give you, it's more training, you know. And if we are able to see even this experience that we're having as training, there are a lot of things that we're looking to be birthed in the world, like more mindfulness. Somebody just said, you know, COVID created needed mindfulness, a lot more of paying attention to each other, right? All of that stuff has been happening in our space. A lot of traffic on the road every day, people kind of just roaming around, going from work, going to pick up kids from school, going home, starting over again the next day, 12, 14, 16-hour days, just kind of mindlessly wandering around. The earth is falling apart because of, you know, all of the different things that are going into the atmosphere because of the cars that are on the amount of cars. You know, you have so much crime. You have all these different things that were kind of like noise, and we're just kind of going through the motion of it without really stopping to think and to see. It's almost as though the entire world got a moment to pause and look at themselves.
And it's so amazing you said that, because leading up to Corona, in all that we've been going through with my mom, with my dad, still healing from the sudden loss and the trauma of that, and just having the multi-layered, you know, sort of life-changing moments for us, that was my prayer, that life would just stop and just give me a minute, just slow down for just a second. And mindfulness allows us to do that, because here's the interesting thing about stress, and stress again has been heightened because of COVID, right? People are experiencing things they never had before without knowing why. There's a judgment attached to that. Why am I feeling this way, and this way is bad, and why can't I stop, and why can't I understand? So that adds this perpetual loop of you know, negativity. When we are existing in a state of threat, when our brain perceives threat, right, it activates this part of our brain called the amygdala, which is really small. It's as small as an almond, and it actually means almond. And that part of our brain, as little as it is fear, negativity all the time, stress. What is happening, right? It is activated as a mechanism to try and keep us safe, right? Telling us that there is a threat. And our brain sort of takes a check of our environment for a threat every 3 seconds. And social threats are perceived just as much and as importantly and as severely as a physical threat. So these social threats that we are experiencing now, this COVID, this lack of connection with our families, with our friends, this lack of interaction, we are under threat. So whether or not you realize, each and every one of us are living in this heightened sense of stress that existed before, but is now amplified, right?
Yes.
And so what tends to happen is that we are living in this constant state of negativity, right? Our brain has a negativity bias, which is the tendency to think of and focus on the negative and not the positive. So when we think about the layers of it, and my sister and I, Sky, were having a conversation, it's like we're doomed.
Yes.
Right? We have this tendency to think negatively as humans. Our brain is wired that way, as you mentioned. We have the heightened layer of stress, the busyness that we've existed in before COVID, and now we have the stress and the threat of COVID itself. How do we maneuver? What is your surfboard, right? Yes. And so for us, it has been, again, mindfulness, that equanimity that we are able to ride the waves, and not just ride, not drown, first of all. That's the first goal, that you don't make the wave take you under, which oftentimes it feels that it's going to take you under. That is the point when you say, I can't. I just really can't manage no more. And Sky and I have had maybe 2 of those this week, but then we have our practice to anchor us, right? So the hope is
a tool. It's like the practice that you have.
It's the tool. It's the tool.
So similar to the way that your book, Crystal's book, the discovery session that Lysandra spoke about, these are all tools that are available for us to use so that we don't go under.
Absolutely.
Even when it feels
and that's
like
different. That's the difference, Stacey, between someone who you see thriving, right, hitting their goals, getting things done, and you who are in the bed for 2 days can't manage because you're stuck.
Yeah,
you're in it. You're in the thick of it. The difference is not. I have learned that each and every one of us has the capacity to build resilience, right? Remember I told you I learned resilience late in life, right?
Yes.
It is that power that we have within us, but the difference is those who have the tools and those who don't have the tools. So those life crises, the three that I mentioned, sent me in this phase on this journey of introspection, right? Just like, all right, I need a minute. I need to become a student or a learner of life. I need to figure something out, right? The fear that Crystal and others were talking about that was keeping me in my stuckness, right? So I had to unpeel the layers and be committed to doing the work. I know you're an Oprah fan, so am I, girl. And she will tell you, and Ian Van Damme will tell you, you have to be committed to yourself and committed to the process of doing the work.
Put on the oxygen mask on you first before you can help or even do anything else. Absolutely.
Yes. And that was a big moment for me, because in the thick of my unhealthy codependent relationship that I felt like I was buried with sand up to my neck, literally can't breathe, but still juggling the roles of being professor, community leader, speaker, panelist, mother, daughter, all these other things. You know, it was a moment when I said, I cannot pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
I can't. I cannot be the mother that I want to be to my child who is in that vulnerable stage of her child development at 4, right? When she has found me in the corner of the house that I found some privacy to ball. How am I serving her, right?
Yes.
How am I showing her that she can do it? And so we have been implementing these tools, Stacey. We have been teaching her the tools. We call it our arsenal, right? That we draw for at different times of our life. And again, mindfulness and the components of mindfulness, as we are learners and students of life and of mindfulness. We are practitioners, but we're also learners. That has really been the difference in how we experience the experience.
Wow. Man, let me tell you, boy, you know, I really admire just the fortitude with which you have faced all of the different things that you have experienced. And that's why I really wanted you to join today, because I think for many persons who have been having experiences, but maybe it didn't slow them down, I think that now that we're all having a similar experience, it's time for us to dig deep and see what is on the other side of that. Where are we being resilient, right? It is now time for all of us to look within ourselves and find that part of our being that is meant to serve a greater purpose, that is to take advantage of the opportunities that are there, that is to teach and to explore with the persons who are coming behind us, especially for parents, persons who are coming behind us. How do we share with them about resilience, about, you know, building that resilience, about overcoming, because life is going to happen and we're going to face challenges.
The waves will come. Yeah.
Right? No, let me tell you, the time has passed. Meaning our time has passed. Yes.
What? It felt like 5 minutes. Oh, that was awesome. We have to get together again, and there's just so much. There is so much.
We have to do more.
Yes, we have to do.
I do not want to switch off before we share about what your gift is going to be for persons that they are going. I was just really excited by what you proposed in terms of the gift that you're going to share. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Because it's a tool, guys. We're doing all the tools here, all the tools.
Hi, my brother. So my brother, I for just signing on. Have to big up yourself. And my cousin in Atlanta, Ray, and my sister in Jamaica, Carrie. Love you guys. Can't do it without your support. And let me tell you, being intentional about who you surround yourself with when you're going through a difficult time is make or break. It is like You have to be around people who are going to pour into you, who genuinely care about you, and who offer something of value, right? Like, are they taking away? Are they Draculas? Are they vampires? Or are they pouring into you? And these are my peeps. Kimmy Dunkley, we used to live together in Cuba. Big up yourself. Anyway, I'm getting excited. So this tool, I'm giving away 2 things that I'm really, really excited about. So this book that I mentioned, Women of Courage, is a combination of chapters that talk about addiction, overcoming cancer, abuse, childhood trauma. And it's really a must read for people who just need some encouragement, but also need tangible tools, right? The same tools that all those people used to thrive in, right, are utilizing. Some of them are in here. So I have really relayed my story and had that moment of vulnerability, but also offered tools. So I'll be giving away one of these. This is being published in the spring. I'm super excited. And this really came out of my greatest pain and my greatest struggle, right? So that is just something I want to give to you all, to show you that you have it within you to overcome, right? Everybody has the ability to create the best version of themselves.
You have everything inside you need already. You have to go looking for it.
You have it. You have to tap into it, and mindfulness is that tool to tap in. So before my session today, I did a meditation, and I tapped into and brought in all that I needed to show up and to bring my best self for these women. The last thing that I'm going to offer, super excited about, is I'm creating a mindful parenting masterclass that is soon to come, bringing in experts to talk about social and emotional development, talk about relationships in COVID, talking about how to help your kids transition, homeschooling, all sorts of gadgets and resources. But for the people who are on the call, the takeaway is, or the giveaway is, I'm offering a free mindful parenting coaching session so that we can start the conversation and see how, for me, parenting has been one of the most challenging things. Let me tell you. Wow. My daughter is phenomenal. She is a special little 6-year-old. She has been a mirror to myself, right? And she's teaching me about myself. But mindfulness has helped me in the most challenging moments, one being parenting. And so this is something that I wish I had before being a mom. And so I'm offering that coaching session, that free coaching session, to one lucky mom to and really start to bring a calmer approach to parenting. Wow. Here's to that. Wow. Cheers to that, right?
Yes. Cheers. Cheers to that. Cheers. Yes. Yes. Guys, yes. I don't tell you, if you're a parent, you know the struggle, right? We don't even have to describe it because you don't know it already, especially during season when the kids are home with you 24/7, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I'm sure that several of you out there need a coaching session, myself included, right? So remember, in order to get that coaching session, guys, or get access to the opportunity to take part in this amazing gift from Rain, you want to make sure that you look up Rain's post on my page. Make sure you're following Rain. Make sure you're following me. And then you want to tag us. You want to put a comment and say what you took away from our session. And
would love to hear that.
Yes, we would love to hear what you took away from this session. And we're going to be announcing the persons to receive that coaching session and the book on Thursday. Okay? So thank you so much for joining.
So welcome. So welcome. There's so much to share. Talk to you soon. People can connect with me at Mindful Parenting 1. We can connect there as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Rain. Take care.
Happy anniversary.